How do you turn an innocent 200-calorie potato into a weight-gaining 1,200-calorie snack? We'll show you, and it could be killing you. We're also going to talk about a way to control a danger that caused 9,000 injuries to children in supermarkets last year. And we're going to challenge a cereal commercial that claims it is so good that it can't be described in just one word. We're going to have all this and more on Fight Back. I'm David Horowitz. Welcome to our program. We have people from all over the world here. We have people from Denmark. We have people from Minneapolis, Texas, Illinois, Chicago. Welcome to our program. Now, you might have noticed that there is a trend in TV commercials today using actors to portray real people on the street. Now, this is a practice popular with advertising agencies because they can give you the feeling that the commercial is spontaneous and yet have total control over what those people say about the product that's being advertised. Now, here's an example of that type of commercial.
Imagine a new cereal so unique you can't describe it with one word.
Crunchy and chewy. Oh, that's 2 words.
One word's nutty. Of course, the raisins taste sweet.
Crunchy, chewy, nutty, sweet, delicious.
It's new Raisin Grape Nuts, wholesome wheat and barley with naturally sweet, chewy raisins.
How about, that's not a word.
New Post Raisin Grape Nut cereal. In a word, you'll love every crunchy, chewy, nutty, sweet spoonful.
Remember, those people were actors. Now, we wondered what would happen if we asked that same question, but instead of using actors, went out and talked to people on the street. We'll show you what answers we got after these commercials. What I want to find out about this. And now it's time for a Fight Back alert. It's been brought to our attention that Allstate Motor Club uses a trip plan touring request form that you can send back to their office for help in planning your vacation. This form includes your name, your address, your phone number, when you will be out of town, where you will be going. Now, it sounds great, doesn't it? But there's one problem with this form, and it is a big one. All of this information is printed on a postcard, which can give burglars easy access to it. They will know exactly when you will be out of town, where you live, and so on. Now, this is a strange device to be used by a company like Allstate that sells theft insurance. We called Allstate's national headquarters in Chicago, Illinois, and they told us that they issued their trip planning cards with the best of intentions in mind, and since they have been made aware of the problem, they are in the process of redesigning the card so that it can be folded up and sealed like in an envelope. Now, if you receive a return postcard from anybody requesting information about your travel plans, credit card numbers, or any other personal information, protect yourself by mailing that postcard in a sealed envelope. Never make it easy for thieves to rip you off. That's how to fight back. Earlier in the program, we told you that we were going to challenge the Post Raisin Grape Nuts commercial. Now, on that commercial, they use actors to portray people on the street. The question was, can you describe the taste of Post Raisin Grape Nuts in just one word? The replies were that Post Raisin Grape Nuts was so good it couldn't be described in one word. Why didn't they just use ordinary people on the street? Could it be that they thought most of us would be too honest? Well, in order to find out, we decided that it was time for a Fight Back commercial challenge. We went to a crowded restaurant area to do our challenge. We stopped 21 customers, picked at random. We poured bowls of cereal and had each person taste and comment. The question, describe the taste of Post Raisin Grape Nuts in one word?
Chewy. Crunchy.
Crunchy. Sweet.
Dull.
Crunchy and nutty and very nice.
Crunchy. Kind of flat. Chewy, crunchy.
Great. Raisiny.
Sweet.
Yuck.
Terrific.
Exquisitely crunchy. Well, I could say tasteless, because that's what I'm thinking. Is that all right?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
It's not wonderful, but it's okay.
Good.
It's good.
I don't like it.
It does taste nutty, crunchy, and sweet.
I don't really like it. Really, I mean it.
Be with you in a minute. No, it's excellent. The raisins and the bran make a good blend, and it's very hard to... You can't really use one word. It's excellent, and it just has a lot of flavor.
So there you have it. We questioned 21 people at random. Now, we didn't leave anyone out, but what we got, you just saw. 15 people liked Raisin Grape Nuts, 6 didn't. However, 7 people were able to describe the taste of Post Raisin Grape Nuts in one word.
Good.
Dull.
Raisiny. Great.
Sweet.
Yuck.
Terrific.
Well, and although we just did a terrific job for Post Raisin Grape Nuts, we have to say that it can be described in one word, and the commercial fails our Fight Back commercial challenge. Now, let's get to something a little more serious. Each year, according to government statistics, more than 9,000 children are injured, some seriously, when the shopping carts they're riding in tip over. Now, many of those accidents could be prevented with some simple, common sense rules. Don't let the kids stand up in the seat. Don't let them play around in the basket or ride hanging on the outside. But as anyone who's tried a grocery shop with a couple of small children in tow can tell you, those rules are easier to talk about than to enforce. Ask any mother. It can be a real hassle trying to shop and keep track of 2 or 3 children at the same time. One can go in the basket seat, another may end up riding in the basket with the groceries, or even hanging on the outside of the cart. That may be handy, but it's hardly safe. The mother or father can't watch the child in the basket every second. Shopping for the best value takes some concentration. Meanwhile, it takes only a few seconds for a child to stand up in the seat or reach too far for something. The cart can tip, and the child may be seriously injured. It happens all the time. Some parents are aware of the danger. One mother I saw in this market brings her own safety strap to tie the child into the basket seat. But she's the only person I've ever seen do that. I don't think it's occurred to most parents, even those like this mother who are safety conscious enough to buckle up their kids in the car. This newly developed cart belt is very much like the seat belt in an automobile. It comes out of a reel, goes around the child, and clips on the other side. Several mothers tried the belt at my request while they shopped. The children seem comfortable with it on. The mothers seem somewhat surprised that someone hadn't come up with this idea long before now. Are seatbelts really a concern of yours when you're shopping? Have you ever thought about it before?
No, I hadn't, because I was always holding it with my hand or my arm, but it's a real good idea.
What difference did you notice now than shopping with a cart that didn't have the seatbelt?
Well, it keeps her in. As before, she would fall over to the side, so I'd have to hold her while shopping, which was very difficult, you know, to shop and hold her at the same time.
I couldn't see any way the belt itself could hurt a child riding in the basket seat. But I wondered if that belt reel might not get in the way of the person doing the shopping, reaching into the basket, bumping the steel casing with their arms or packages of food. It could, I suppose, but it didn't bother this shopper at all. And even if the belt were a nuisance for people not shopping with children, the markets that have these belts don't put them on every cart in the store, so shoppers wouldn't have to bother with the belted ones. Even if markets were to buy these belts and install them on carts, would parents use them? Or would these be like seat belts in our cars, too often ignored, even when we know they may save our lives. Now, a lot would depend on the markets. They could tell their customers about the new belts. They could put up posters in the stores and show them how to use the belts. Insurance companies could offer reduced liability rates for those markets that install and promote such devices. In New Jersey, the law now says that parents who don't use care belts where they are available are at least partly liable for their child's injuries if the child should fall out of the cart. But until the markets do adopt belts or other safety devices, I suggest parents do as that one mother we saw does when she shops. That is, take your own safety belt with you to the store. Tie or buckle the child securely in the seat. Now, he or she will not only be a lot safer, but a lot less troublesome, too. And we'll be right back to fight back after this commercial. And, you know, even on a cart like this, it would be easy to do. You know, just put the belt through the back. I have a letter here from Ellie Matthews, who lives in Dunkirk, New York, which is near Buffalo. Mr. Matthews is concerned about what he feels is another ripoff. He says that he bought Arm & Hammer carpet deodorizer to remove an objectionable odor from his carpet. It did the job really well. However, while checking the ingredients, he found that it was nothing more than 100% pure baking soda. So he checked the regular baking soda and found that it sold for a lot less money. Now, Mr. Matthews claims that Arm & Hammer just takes all their products, packages them differently, calls them by different names, and sells them for a lot more than regular old baking soda. Mr. Matthews wants to know why and if he is getting taken. I went to the supermarket to check out the prices to answer our viewer's question. I first looked at regular Arm & Hammer baking soda. It was selling for 3 cents an ounce. It was also recommended for use as a cat litter deodorizer. Then I found the Arm & Hammer cat litter deodorizer, selling for 4.2 cents per ounce. And the Arm & Hammer carpet deodorizer was selling for 5 cents an ounce. This was 2 cents an ounce more than the regular Arm & Hammer baking soda. Why, if they all just consist of 100% baking soda, is there a difference in price? The Church & Dwight Company in Piscataway, New Jersey, the manufacturers of Arm & Hammer products, said one difference is in the convenience packaging. The carpet deodorizer comes in a new shaker box, and the cat litter deodorizer comes in an easy-to-handle package. Church & Dwight said the other difference is in the consistency of the various products. The carpet deodorizer is processed in a crystal form, so it will pour easier. The cat litter deodorizer is processed in a more sandy consistency for the same reason. The regular baking soda is in a more powdery form. Though the regular baking soda is recommended for use as a cat deodorizer, neither the carpet deodorizer or the cat litter deodorizer is recommended for baking purposes. Well, there's your answer, Mr. Matthews. The reason for the cost difference is the packaging and the consistency of the product. That's what the company tells us. And for bringing this to our attention, we're going to send you a Fight Back t-shirt. Now, it is true that you can use all 3 products to both deodorize your carpet and your cat litter box, but what we want to know is, can you use all 3 to bake a cake? Now, according to Arm & Hammer, the answer is yes, as long as you use the unscented deodorizers. However, because of the consistency factor in the carpet and cat litter deodorizers, this might make your cake a little grainy. We thought it would be fun to try it. And so, one of our Fight Back videotape editors, Jane Butler, volunteered to make these 3 beautiful applesauce cakes. Now, one cake is made with regular baking soda, and one is made with Arm & Hammer carpet deodorizer. And the last one, folks, is made with Arm & Hammer cat litter deodorizer. All right, now, would anyone in our audience like to volunteer to see if they can pick out what these different cakes are made with? What kind of baking soda? All right, why don't you come up? Why don't you come up? Don't these cakes smell great? All right. First of all, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Pat DiVitale.
And where do you come from, Pat?
Tarzana.
Tarzana, California. And are you a baker?
Yes.
You bake cakes from scratch?
Yes, and I use mixes. I have 5 children.
Oh, well, I could see that. And you also use baking soda?
Definitely.
Okay, now I want to tell you that, first of all, we have not added anything to these cakes. I mean, we've just done them according to the way people would do it. Now, what I want you to do is you have 3 pieces of cake. Is, Pat, taste each slice of cake. And then afterward, I'm going to ask you which one you felt was best, if indeed one is best to you, okay? Why don't you taste it? And boy, is the tension going to mount on this one. You know, it's really funny, Pat, that you talk about people baking a cake using these 3 types of baking soda, you know, and I was just thinking of carpet deodorizer, cat, I don't mean to affect your taste. How was the first one?
Moist.
Moist? Tasty.
It's good. It's not, if it was used with the cat deodorant, I couldn't tell.
Okay. Now the second one. And actually, Jane Butler did a terrific job of baking these cakes. We'll have to invite her back to the show more often. How's that one?
This one's lighter.
That one is a little lighter. Okay, now let's try the third one. And then afterward, we'll see which one Pat finds best, and I'll tell Pat the good news. All right. Now, how's that one, Pat?
Moister.
Moister.
Wet, heavier.
Now, which one would you say is your favorite of these 3?
This one.
All right, the middle one. What you did is you picked the cat litter deodorizer.
Sounds about right.
All right. Wait, don't leave yet. Here is the carpet deodorizer, and here is the pure baking soda. Pat, you've been a good sport. Thank you very much. It was really fun. Isn't that it? But you know, like Arm & Hammer, we don't recommend substituting their other products for baking purposes. We just did it for fun and to see if it could really work. And speaking of food, are we Americans really the best-fed people in the world, or are we eating ourselves to death? We do all eat well in this country as a rule, but most nutritionists seem to agree that we also eat far more of certain kinds of food than we really need. Sweets, salt, caffeine, fats, and oils. The very things many people like best about the great American pre-prepared meal. Every day, the average person eats 100 grams of fat. That's 8 tablespoons of fat and oil, no matter what it's called. Butter, gravy, palm oil, coconut oil, pure vegetable oil, or shortening. Prepared foods are rich in fat used to preserve taste, color, and texture. Snacks have fat, and so do sauces, processed meats, and especially fast foods.
The goal of the fast food chains, obviously, to get people to eat this stuff and eat this stuff more and more. It's breakfast at the chains. It's lunch at the chains. It's dinner at the chains. The big deal is that as you eat that stuff, more and more of it, you rely upon it. And it's not just once a week. It's 6 times a week, and you develop patterns, living patterns, that are very, very hard to change. And people our age are dying. They're dropping like flies from heart disease. There's 100 million people that are overweight. There's 11 million diabetics in the country. There's colon cancer and breast cancer running rampant. That's the kind of society that we live in. And it's not related to little bugs. You don't get these things from little bugs. You get it from what you eat. You get it from the way you live.
Steven Zifferblatt admits that his views on fats in the diet represent an extreme view among nutritionists. Many others say there's nothing wrong at all with a quick meal from a fast food outlet every now and then. Some of the food chains are now handing out their own nutrition guides and information to their customers. Information you can use to get the best nutritional value from a fast food meal. Here's one from Carl's Jr. And McDonald's has a booklet with pages of food data. It says, for instance, that their regular hamburger contains only about 2/3 the fat in a tuna salad or peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Well, another chain says its regular serving of French fries contain the equivalent of 4 teaspoons of shortening, which amounts for most of the 250 calories in that serving. 2 well-stuffed beef tacos will usually contain about 6.5 teaspoons of oil and fat. And a good full serving of fish and chips, as you might expect, holds on to nearly 10 teaspoons of cooking oil when it comes out of the deep fat fryer. But for a real fat feast, potato chips take the prize. What started out as a plain 8-ounce potato with only 200 calories has become a 1,200-calorie bag of chips containing 28 teaspoons of pure oil. That's more oil than most people eat all day. Now, I'm not saying we should all give up fast foods and potato chips, but if that's all you eat, if you pig out on this kind of food day after day, then don't be surprised if that's what you end up looking like. And we'll be right back after this break. But you know how much fat is in here? Our time is up. A lot of members of the audience said they'd like to taste the cakes, and I just want to tell you they're all made out of 100% baking soda, so there's no ingredients to be afraid of. But anyway, if you have something that is bothering you, or if you want us to challenge a commercial, or if you'd like tickets to our program, here's where to write. Fight Back, Burbank, California, 91523. And if we use your letter on our show, we'll send you a Fight Back t-shirt. And remember, stay aware and informed, and fight back, and don't let anyone rip you off. Who's going to cut? Are you going to cut? Here we go. You can cut. Come on up. Taste the cake. Go ahead, take a taste. This is the one with the cat litter deodorizer.